Yes! Yes! So, guys, after, days, days, we are back together again. Episode 41, Mortal Precipices. Damn it, fan, that's not fair! Mortal the P Word, Part 3. Guys, 10,000. We are now officially the companions. We are the custodes, the 10,000. And Fan is not too far behind us. Fan is not that far behind us. Let's go! Alright, so, the Yark video I'm releasing in 3 parts. I think I've said that before. The first part is going to come out in the next few days. And guys, I'm just going to let you know why I'm releasing it in 3 parts. When I finish the base audio for this, just the audio of just me talking, nothing else, none of my normal shenanigans and stupidity, 1 hour and 49 minutes. That is the longest video. It's the longest single video I've ever done. And I didn't even hit everything I wanted to hit. It is extensive. Prophet says about that beer. God, a fan uploaded? No kidding. He confessed to being Alfarius, committing heresy. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, fan just must be exterminated then. It's okay. Hobbit, happy day after 10K day. Yes. Like, you guys have no idea how much that this actually has meant to me. I have been looking at the number every day. Just every day. Just not knowing. And everything continued to accelerate. And, I was hoping to have everything done. You guys are awesome. Prophet says 10,000 are great, but we could get you to 50. I'd love that. We need 40k subs. Yes, we do need 40k subs, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh my God, Skaven are now in the chat. Oh Lord, yes, Warden. Oh Lord, he coming. You had beef tacos for breakfast. Great day at work. Yes. Okay, so guys, last episode. And I'm just going to use nicknames for them because this is what I do. We had the E-Girl and her prime simp. They should have died, okay? But apparently Mace Windu is just a little bit of, he's Captain's... I'm still pissed about that. Do you like the illustrations from Echoes of Eternity? I love the illustrations from Echoes of Eternity. I don't think I've seen them all yet. If you have seen those, please, guys, send them to me. I want to see those. Thank you, Slacker. Light years, if you want to try... What the fuck? No, Matthew, if you ever want to see a movie that'll make you question your sanity, Kung Fury. I recommend that highly. I recommend that very, very, very highly, okay? Combeer deserves no respect, okay? Look... When your girlfriend starts to turn into a roach, there's a problem, my man. There's a problem, my guy. She's trying to steal his jeans. There's a guy at your local hobby store who is converting his Imperial Knights into escape. Oh my God. Today we meet maximum worst. There is no such thing. Unless Hanzu shows up with an Inculaba, I don't want to hear about maximum worst, okay? Calm beer. Yes. Mass Windu is Captain Save-A-Ho. I was gonna say a tie bolt, but I didn't think I was gonna. I know she was already a roach, but she used to look good before she started, roaching out. Anyhow, a hottest roach on accident. Let's drop a couple of nukes on her, then she'll be even hotter. There you go. Yes. Okay. So, who is ready for this? Who has been looking forward to this? I know I have. Okay, guys? Oh my God, guys. The only good roach is a dead roach. Yeah, like, legitimately, every single time I see Combeer and her, the first thing that pops in my head is that scene from, oh my God, I'm gonna hit myself. Starship Troopers, where this, like, would you like to know more? Anyhow, Hobbit, it is insanity. Alright, so, here we go. X in chat if you're ready for this. I am ready for this. I am so ready for this. Let's go. Time to burst out the Salamander's cookbook. Yes. Here we go, guys. Okay, so my hope for this is that I find out a little bit more about Maximum Chad Samuel. That's my hope.
Samael was fracked. He ducked his head to the right, saber sliding through the air where he had been, a bar of blinding light.
Joe Rogan just said, and I will quote him here, "Join the town today, claim your waifu now." X in chat to nuke Joe Rogan. Thank you, Joe Rogan, but you are wrong.
Making his dark eyes useless for a couple of seconds. His tongue trailed his upper lip, tasting sweat, stimuli he did not want or need right then, registering it all the same. Eyes blinking, still blinded by the purple blade, he was forced to predict, anticipate, veering left and slamming down with his gun-bearing hand. He caught something, a forearm in the midst of a powerful punch, unnaturally strong, bringing it down from his neck where it nearly crushed his throat.
Prophet says, plot twist, salamanders are vegetarians because they're too nice to kill animals. Only the baby ones, and as long as they're considered xenospecies.
Instead, it struck the plates where his ribs had once been so long ago, fracturing them, throwing him back as he moved with the force of the blow. Completely fracked. He was completely fracked. But it wasn't the first.
Look at this Chad! Look at him! He's a fucking Thunder Chad!
Time. Ultanis, the craft world, that horrific week in the dark arenas, and that one time with the Orc Commando. Samael had been fracked before. Now he just needed to unfrack himself, and fast. He rolled as he hit the ground, coming up to his feet, eyes blinking rapidly, trying desperately to rid himself of the after images of those lightsabers, and relying on his ears this time instead. He called up the taint, that power within him that was at once divine.
Wait a minute. You did not use that word, fan. You did not use that word. He brought up the taint. Yes.
And hated. The inheritance of the Emperor and of mankind.
Of course he'd bring it up in accordance with his
chat. He used it to help him sense, combining it with his hearing to slide to the left and raise his blade into the air. Clash. Burning sparks raining over his face as two sabers, one blue, one amethyst, slammed down against the pale white of his Solex Aegis
It was
energy
the first
blade.
time. Was that a sex joke?
Using the moment to attempt an offensive, trying to drive at least one of them into defense.
Hey, hold on a second, guys. Hold on a second. I just noticed somebody in the chat. Hey, Zeziel is another reactor. He's been checking out my 5-ish minute lores. I'd like to welcome him to the chat. How you doing, bud? I've seen every single one of his. He is about to get to... he's about to get to the point where he experiences the first, real rage of Herman von Straub. And it's coming back.
It didn't fracking work. A leg meeting
Fan,
his
I am
with
never
the same
more mature
force,
than you.
Shins painfully colliding, though from whom he could not tell. But he knew who palmed him in the gut, throwing him even further, feeling the internal bleeding begin before staunching automatically. His eyes were clear now, clear enough to see the two Jedi advancing on him ruthlessly. That was good. He needed his eyes to make these shots. His hand rattled, but he did not budge his aim, firing at them both. Mace Windu ducked the shot, a specter of violence and death, that one. The other, Obi-Wan, Samael guessed from his appearance, chose to block with his saber instead, grunting as molten lead spattered his nice robes. 3 shots left, the last one being the most important. The last one being the one he needed to get off perfectly. Mace came in, not waiting for his companion to recover, and for a few heartbeats, it was just them in a pure contest. And Samael was reminded again, reminded that he was completely fracking fracked. The man fought like an Eldari warlock using a power sword, but with none of the pomp or arrogance, clearly having been chastened in this battle into pure seriousness. His blade came down like a thunderhammer's head, Samael struggling to not buckle under it as he caught the lightsaber on his own blade of radiant light. Every intercept a heart-skipping moment, the not quite Astartes knowing full well that his sword had a sorry habit of flickering at inopportune moments.
Yeah, this does happen.
It held strong this time, reflecting the blade, creating more sparks as the Jedi punched him with the equivalent of a power fist. Damned Jedi was a sight more lethal than anything before him, and Samael grunted as the fist drove into his gut again, shooting him back for a third time, heels scraping the hard, dusty ground of the inner wall. His stomach was fracked. He'd be taking sustenance in through a needle for at least a few days after this, if he even lived through this at all. But there was no mercy from the Jedi, not that he expected any, not at this point. Samael stumbled and curled into a ball, using the warp's mind-issued propulsion to roll back a couple more feet before springing wide open and firing out a wave
Okay, seriously, I gotta say it. This musical selection is smashing, okay?
of invisible force, trying to telekinetically drive them back. The other master had joined General Windu once more, and Samael fired again as they both braced against the wave of his power. But they seemed ready for it, halting but not budging, Mace Windu snapping out an eldritch hand to snatch the shot out of the air right before Obi-Wan's face. Throw, damn it, the assailed agent thought to himself. They really weren't giving him any openings. But Samael reckoned he was closer to the broken down exitway than he had been before, which was good. Damn good. Because there was no way in frack he was going to survive this without some help. And that was...
Summon your Giga Chad powers. Summon the Legion of the Chad.
where
Do
his
it!
last shot came in. Just one more to spend before it was in the chamber. Surrender. We will take you alive. You will be treated fairly. The one called Obi-Wan said, alerting Samael to just how pathetic he must look before them. The warrior grinned, some blood sliding from his lips, coagulating fast even before the stream could reach his chin. Samael spat the hardened red out from his mouth, both masters grimacing at the sight. This really was a different galaxy altogether. These warriors were strong, but still so soft.
That is kind of you.
Samael grunted, attempting to stand up straight, agony bleeding from his chest and stomach.
But that is not an option for a man in my position. Throne, damn it. You can punch hard now, can't you? It's like being on the wrong end of a power fist.
Samael said, slowly backing away, weaving his blade threatening in the gap between them. This is your last chance. If you do not surrender now, I will end you, said General Mace Windu, and Samael nodded.
You do what you have to do. I will as well. Truly, I did not wish to fight you, General Windu. My battle isn't with your republic, strictly speaking.
Strictly
But
speaking.
it is out of the question for me to surrender. Completely impossible, in fact.
He said, taking another step back. Windu jerked, starting to move forward, but Obi-Wan held him back, grasping the shoulder of his robe with his free hand. Wait, what do you mean by that? Explain yourself. Are you not an Imperial? Are you not a Space Marine? He asked, and...
Oh, you sweet summer children.
And Samael felt his grin grow wider, tombstone teeth on full display.
Almost, Master Kenobi. But not quite. I am a hunter. And that woman you saved, she was my prey. If you just let me end her, then we wouldn't even need to fight.
Samael explained. Enough, said Mace, glaring with an intensity that was impressive even by Samael's standards. As if we would allow you to slaughter a helpless girl.
You fucking hypocrite!
Anyhow.
He finished, and Samael laughed.
Throne be damned. You have no idea whatsoever. No idea at all. If you think that thing was helpless, she'll destroy us all. Imperium, Republic, and the entire galaxy around us,
said Samael. I said enough. I won't believe another word you speak. You are a liar, an infiltrator, and I've heard enough, said the dark-skinned master of the Jedi. Samael nodded, aiming his gun towards him, his saber out and tightly gripped.
Fair enough, General. Fair enough,
he said, legs bending, crouching, preparing to absorb the force that would soon be on him. And then, it was, the two Jedi becoming blurs of movement. Samael had some strength in the warp, but nothing like these two. Remembering some of the training his brother had deemed to teach him, he grit his blood-crusted teeth and drew in that power, becoming a stationary blur as he did, just before the clash. The Jedi shot forward, and he fired back. His final shot before the last being entirely avoided by the two, his blade-bearing hand moving in a frenzy to parry both of the blades of light which sought him. Sparks again, the screaming of energy meeting energy, and both Jedi need him in the guts, moving in a practiced synchronicity and giving him another excuse to move back, but this time they did not relent. Blades swung back and back again, and it was all he could do to keep pace. His enhanced senses and vague, warp-bolstered awareness saving him again and again as he backtracked from them, slashing and slamming his Solex against their lightsabers. He was driven out of the passageway and into the greater battle beyond, death and war waging all around him, the sun's light blackened to nearly nothing by the clouds, and columns of smoke which dominated the sky, wherever Republic ships did not. He was forced again and again to prioritize parries and blocks, chemical sweat flying off him as he vibrated with power. Teeth grit tightly together as veins became visible on and around the sides of his head. He couldn't hold this technique for very long. The unnatural warping he was wrapping himself in, seeking to shake and tear him apart almost as doggedly as the Jedi it was defending him from. He swept his white Solex up and around, catching their sabers, driving them up as he spun, extending his gun-bearing fist out to backhand Mace Windu, catching the man hard in the face and forcing him back before Master Kenobi returned the favor with an acrobatic twist, kicking Samael across the jaw, almost dazing him as lights bloomed in his eyes. Samael gave a serious
He's standing up to two Jedi Masters. I knew that he was an Ultra Chad.
thought to surrendering then. The battle was going badly, and not just for himself. He recovered thanks to muscle memory, backing up as he slapped away the blue blade which followed him, able to see the carnage intensifying all around him. They would be overrun in minutes at this rate. He'd surrendered before, always with the intention of fighting himself free again, but a false surrender was as viable a tactic as any in his mind. However, he would not demean himself such, not until he had made his last shot, and now that he was out in the open, he could.
Wait!
Samael bellowed, and to his mild surprise, they did, backing off for a moment as he slouched, coughed more blood, half of it solid, half of it not. Changed your mind? Asked Master Obi-Wan, but Samael shook his head, aiming his gun first at him, and then into the air, straight over his own head.
Nah.
He groaned, firing his last shot skyward and tossing his pistol away, grasping his blade with both hands now. The final shot was not like the others, rocketing up and glowing a pulsating red, revealing itself to be some kind of technical flare.
I just wanted to let you know,
Samael said, grinning through red teeth,
that you now have 60 seconds to finish this fight.
He explained. Or what? Asked Master Windu.
Wait 60 more seconds.
You'll
and
find out.
Said Samael, grunting a moment later as both Jedi rushed him again. His flare was out. Heck was coming. But could he last that much time? He figured having both hands on his sword would help, though his blurred form began to come back into focus, his stamina unable to retain that power for much longer. Another screeching clash, Obi-Wan driving in almost like a fencer, while Mace Windu savaged him with wide, powerful strikes, one hand always free and waiting for an opening.
Yes.
Samael met them with more strength than finesse, catching their lightsabers and reversing their momentums with raw power. Hissing as he jerked his head to the right, his face narrowly swerving to the side of another warp-wreathed fist which cut a furrow under his left eye and over his cheek. He wondered, truly, if they would actually manage to kill him before help could arrive. Though
Actually
even if
managed.
he could not hold
What a
out,
Chad!
even if they did kill him, that would not stop what was now about to happen. Hecate's third face was turned, and she was coming. And Throne helped them all if Samael was not able to turn that face again when all was said and done.
That's bad. Jonathan Shadrick. Here we go.
Shadrick ducked his head, spitting in anger as a bright lance of heat tore through his tall hat, forcing the man to throw it off as it caught fire. "Traitors!" he yelled, spinning and firing his own last pistol back the way the shot had come. All around him, his loyal soldiers were forming up to create a wall between the Commissar captain and the ambushing force of Cadians and Calambians who had sprung out from the adjoining walls to assail him. Many minutes ago, shortly after exiting the armory, the Commissar captain had been confronted by 12 men, 12 Vastillan irregulars who had demanded he halt his progress. They had even implied that he was under arrest by order of Saint Lazarus.
Yes?
The Commissar captain had only laughed bitterly at their pronouncements, snapping his fingers and silently sending the signal for his men to gun them down.
Lovely.
It had been such an easy thing for him, his forces far outnumbering the foolhardy 12 who had...
See, I can already see what's wrong with him. You see, his sash is blue. That means he's a Tau sympathizer and he deserves to die!
chosen to intervene in his duty. Now, he was starting to truly realize they had only been one squad of a quickly converging force. And the next time he met with these men, they had not stopped for a chat or exposed themselves in the folly
Excellent
of
chat
good
to Newt
faith.
Prophet.
His own guards fought like Kriegers, for they knew they were dead one way or another. They fought under no false pretenses, not that Shadrick would need one. His stormtroopers were mimetically branded to loyalty, already accepting that their lives...
Look at his sash, fan! You can't tell me he's not a Tau sympathizer. Simp! He's a Tau sympathizer! There it is!
to be composed of no families, no friends, no descendants. Only duty and dedication to that duty. And thanks to his contacts in the Inquisition, that duty was entirely to him. They were just as willing to die staving off these interlopers and traitors as they were to die peacefully in the exterminatus that was to come.
Yes.
Of course, Shadrick would not join them. The long, beeping teleporter beacon he wore slung over his left shoulder would assure that.
You really?
And that was as it should be. After all, Shadrick was not some replaceable foot soldier. He was a commander, a leader born to bring victory to the Imperium. Those were his thoughts as he watched his people falling like scythed wheat, dying to buy him time at a great cost. In fact, the cost was obviously steeper for his own soldiers than it was for those attacking him.
Robert's like, what about the Ultramarines, old man? What about the Ultramarines? Look, Matt Ward doesn't come into play here.
Throwing their lives away too cheaply in his opinion. But he could not argue with the effects. Few of the enemy fell, but they were all held back by their sacrifice. And with that, he was satisfied. He and those who remained to escort him ran up the tall, vaulted passageways of the inner sanctum of the Basilica. Tech adepts kneeling ahead where they had rushed to, using powerful Mechanicus data interrogators to hack their way past the barring gates and other defenses. Red painted across brilliant gold more and more as the other guardsmen drilled up towards him. The Commissar firing over the heads of those men who comprised the last bulwark, keeping the enemy from their leader.
Don't let them through!
He barked at their
He's
backs.
trying!
Force them back! Even if it means your own death, the Emperor demands only that you die well!
He continued to say as the wide,
Seriously, this guy is the Lord Farquaad meme. He is the Lord Farquaad meme. Flat out. Many of you may die, but that is a risk I am willing to take.
embossed gates leading into the final chamber began to creak and swing open. Still firing, he entered the room while walking backwards, hair scorched and smoking, burns glowing across the carapace he wore under his now ruined red uniform. He spun around to face the tech adepts once he was inside.
Shut these doors! Do it now!
He started to order before his eyes grew wide, seeing what awaited him. The room was enormous and circular, built around a gargantuan altar composed of gold, adamantium, and priceless auramite filigree. The pillars were caked in depictions of sword-bearing angels, many wearing the recognizable armors of the Adeptus Astartes, themselves being depicted fighting and dying, stabbing downward with their weapons into the faces of silver daemons and their own heretical cousins. Above the battling angels, depictions of the sisters themselves stood, eyes upturned towards idols of the saints of their order. Mouths open in frozen song, hands raised above their heads or held to their chests in prayer. And the saints, each one, some men but mostly women, held aloft blazing swords, depictions of priceless relics belonging to ancient times, the weapons aimed up and inwards towards one final towering depiction. A statue so enormous, it must have filled the entire central spire of the Basilica itself. Gem eyes looked up towards it, appealing to it for blessings, golden lips vowing silent praise to its glory. There, atop it all and in the center, sat the Emperor, supreme and mighty upon
All hail the man emperor of mankind!
his golden throne. Eyes of auramite staring down in pitiless judgment.
Hey,
The
Austin.
master of mankind sat with both hands resting on the pommel of his long, down-facing sword, itself alone larger than any of the other statues, save the emperor himself.
Okay, so there's green stuff. I got $5. I know what it is. Jarrett says he needs a Guinness for this part henceforth. I don't drink, but I got a feeling. I have a feeling. I have a feeling. If that's the Life Eater virus.
The great weapon pierced far, far down, passing the saints and angels, its tip visible in the open center of the altar.
Thank you, Jarrett.
And there, hanging from the sharpened end of their god's instrument of death, was the true weapon. The bulbous, enormous shape of a virus bomb.
It's feeling kind of Istvan in here right now, isn't it, guys? Feeling just a little bit Istvan?
It contained within it thousands of pounds of pure, dormant death, ready to be unleashed when his final judgment was called upon, ready to grant the Emperor's mercy to an entire world.
Well,
Beneath the
good times rhymes with war crimes, guys.
exterminatus level weapon was no coffin or central dais, but rather a vast, yawning pit that the sisters had drilled down all the way to the lowest levels of the planet-sized city that they could reach, ensuring the weapon's absolute effectiveness upon being dropped and detonated. But it was not the majesty of the altar's size that stunned the Commissar into silence, nor was it the lethal, ancient form of the world-ending bomb which hung at its center. Not even the depiction of the Emperor was enough to give Shadrick such pause. It was the small army of soldiers who surrounded it, and their many, many aimed weapons that held him in place.
Lovely.
On one side,
Thank
the
you, Spirit of
hound
Jefferson.
heads and
No kill like
camo-painted
overkill.
faces
Thank you,
of
sir.
Acadian Guard. Kneeling behind cover, aiming long-last guns from high alcoves they had climbed into, and grimacing from the shadows of demonic statues, ready to fire in a moment's notice.
All right, real quick, guys. Who does not know what a virus bomb is? Just put a Y in chat if you do not know what a virus bomb is, or if you don't know what ISFON 3 is, because both of those bear explaining. Because what is about to what is at risk to happen at this point is horrifying. Okay. All right, so at least one person doesn't know. So let me go ahead and go into it. Okay, so a virus bomb is is one of many ways that the Imperium has to perform something called Exterminatus, which is the wiping out of all life on a planet. There are several flavors of Exterminatus because ass whoopings call them in all flavors, just like a starburst. A virus bomb is a very effective way to kill off every biological thing on the planet. When the virus bomb is detonated, it spreads massively through the atmosphere. It's usually detonated in high atmosphere or in wind currents. The virus spreads almost instantaneously. It rots somebody from the inside out within less than 10 seconds. It's an extremely painful death. As they die, gases get released into the atmosphere that are extremely flammable. So, a virus bomb is really a two-stage weapon, okay? So, the virus bomb gets sent out. It gets deployed onto a planet. It basically gets... You don't try to explode or anything like that. You just let it out. It just opens. The virus goes out, starts to infect a planet, and rapidly spreads worse than anything you ever thought about. It's COVID times 9,000. But lethal, actually. And it goes everywhere, and it just breaks down everything. That's the first stage. The second stage is usually done by orbiting spacecraft. They just fire a single shot down into the middle of the cloud of, horror that is left after the virus has run its initial course. And this shot will ignite the atmosphere and burn the atmosphere literally to nothing. It is a way to absolutely devastate an entire region, an entire continent, an entire planet. One virus bomb alone is good enough to wipe out a continent. One. 3 or 4 will wipe out an entire planet the size of Earth relatively effectively. Now, what ISFON 3 was, if you've been listening to, if you've been listening to this, they've been talking about heretics and things like that. Well, to just break it all down, the Great Poobah heretic was named Horus. He was the Great Poobah heretic, and he was the first open heretic against the Emperor. He led all the heretics against the Emperor. I'm breaking down a 2-week explanation into 20 seconds. But the first major betrayal that Horus did was on ISFON 3, where he had all the loyal elements of his forces go down to the planet to fight supposedly a rebellion. They landed, started fighting the rebellion, and then Horus had the entire planet virus bombed. Not by, just enough virus bombs. He literally saturation bombarded it with virus bombs and then ignited the thing. It turned the entire place into a graveyard. In any case, is that good stuff, guys? Everybody good? Let's go.
On the other side, an equal force of undauntable Krieg corpsmen, arrayed in rank and file, one line kneeling, one line standing, all men aiming their high-powered las rifles.
And Takira, this is, I thought I should just go ahead and look at the stuff. Okay, so is it more powerful than a nuke? Vastly more powerful. It's a different kind of engagement platform, okay? It's a completely different kind of engagement platform where, so I'll just do a quick breakdown of other types of Exterminatus. To do a planet cracking to basically blow the planet apart. You use what's called a two-stage cyclonic torpedo that uses a melter charge on the front of a missile. It bores down into the planet and blows up in the core, basically erupting. And the missile is the size of the Chrysler Building, I'm just saying. Another way to do it, to break apart the planet, official request to name the title of War Master to Great Poobah. Yes. Yes, then Rhylnor virus bombed Isfahan 3 again, and Fulgrim. Another way to do it is to target tectonic plates. They do that very effectively. There's regular cyclonic torpedoes. There's, of course, macro cannon bombardment, which would effectively ruin a place within a short amount of time. There is, oh, good lord, firebombing, of course. And then, God, did I miss any? Did I miss any off the key? I don't think I did. But virus bombing is, without a doubt, a macro cannon shell from an Imperial warship, even a small one such as a destroyer, fires rounds that weigh in the kilotons. These rounds weigh in the kilotons at fractions of the speed of light, and when they hit with gigaton amounts of force. So, there you go. Vortex torpedo bombing. Thank you, fan. A vortex bomb, a vortex munition, anything like that, that's extremely rare. If you have a vortex weapon unleashed on you, you have severely pissed off the Emperor to no man's accounting, okay? Vortex is the Imperium's way of saying, screw everything about everything in this area right here in particular. If you get vortex bombed, you're done. Okay, so it basically tears open a hole in reality and everything in it gets swallowed by the warp. Have fun. Here we go.
Rifles in one single direction. His. And between them was their obvious commander, standing before the altar with a retinue of his own people composed mostly of Cadians and a single, one-armed Krieger.
Oh, our boy! Just so you guys know, if that virus bomb drops off the tip of that sword and drops down to the lower area, everyone on that planet, most likely, is going to wind up dead. Like, that half of the world, obviously. Antikira says, thank you for the lesson. Now please please cover the legal gray area we are about to experience and who is in the right in this situation. If you think there's any such thing as right in 40k, no, there's no such thing as right or wrong in 40k. There's no such thing as right or wrong in 40k. It is just all wrong. It is varying degrees of how awful it is. But with that one gene sealer on the planet, I'd virus bomb it. Like that.
It's over, Commissar,
said the dark-skinned man, amethyst eyes staring Shadrick down.
Lay down your
weapons
it's gonna blow up.
And submit to arrest.
That virus bomb blows, it takes out everything.
Ordered Captain Stern. The Commissar's remaining troops were dwarfed by the assembled mass of soldiers, but they still did not lower their weapons or flinch away, though they did hold their fire, waiting for their leader's command.
Thank you, Mr. Joe Rogan. I appreciate that. Now, would you stop dropping DMT and making insisting comments about the Tau? The Tau could never commit such war crimes. This is why y'all should join us and try to fight for the greater good. Explain, if you will, one of the septs in the Tau Empire. I can't remember what, the Viorla Sept? Explain the Viorla Sept for me, if you will. I think I'm getting the right sept right. Thank you, but no.
Shadrick felt lines being drawn across his face, like gouges of hatred carving into his cheeks and
come
forehead.
on. Let's
Your
go.
Saint Lazarus is nothing more than a sergeant. He has no authority over me.
The Commissar spat, to little effect. Be that as it may, you were also ordered to vacate the Basilica by the Holy Lady Ordain herself. And yet, you are still here. If for no other reason, I must insist because of that. Stern said back,
Prophet.
Voice
I would
calm,
appreciate the Tau.
his own weapon lowered, while the Commissar held his out in a nearly trembling fist.
You may have been correct before, but I am now working under a higher authority than that of the Canoness.
Shadrick said, grinding his teeth as he tried to recover his composure. A higher authority? Stern asked with a raised eyebrow.
The Emperor's Holy Inquisition!
The cornered Commissar barked. The declaration sent ripples through the Cadians, though their masked counterparts showed no reaction at all.
Kriegers don't care.
I am here under direct orders of the Emperor's word, and I have been instructed to initiate the final salvation of this place and proclaim exterminatus before this Basilica falls to the enemy.
He continued.
You expect me to believe the Inquisition would order that while reinforcements are on the way?
Yeah. I actually do.
While the fight still rages outside, undecided, Stern voiced in open disgust.
Open your eyes, Captain Stern! This planet is lost! There are no reinforcements coming, and while the battle is still waged, the enemy is all but assured victory!
Shadrick contested.
But we can turn that victory to ashes in their throats!
He declared, seeming to address not only Stern, but every single one of the soldiers within the chamber.
And turn us into ashes as well. You do not have the authority
Excellent
to
chat
initiate
to nuke,
final
Prophet.
salvation.
Thank you, Prophet, but take the nuke.
Lay down your arms and surrender. Stern ordered, his face tightening.
I may not,
The Commissar said.
but the Inquisition does, and as I have said, I am here under their orders. We must all bow before the word of the Emperor, even if it means our deaths,
He announced. But not your death, correct? Stern shot back, frustration tainting his expression.
That device you have on your shoulder is a teleportation beacon. Do you deny it?
He asked, and to that, Shadrick had nothing to say.
Why would the Inquisition choose to rescue you from this, in place of, let's say, the Canoness herself, or one of the Majors, or even Saint Lazarus? What makes you so special?
The captain challenged.
The Canoness is an old, dying woman. She is no good to anyone,
dig.
and would likely not even survive the trip,
Dig.
Shouted Shadrick, voice
Dig it.
echoing in the truly cavernous room.
The other Majors are dead, captured or trapped outside the Basilica. They could not be reached anyway. And Saint Lazarus. Why would the Inquisition salvage a worthless Calambian sergeant who could not even effectively lead a countercharge against the enemy lines without massive casualties? It should be obvious why I was chosen. And even if it is not, it is their choice, their word, their judgment which concerns me, not yours.
Can we shoot his ass, please? Please. I just want. Blow. Thank you. Vita Vortex Bomb Prophet. Thank you, fan. Finally, somebody gets. Well, no, you're not going to send him to the warp. He'd have a good time there. Thank you, Prophet.
The scuffed Commissar proclaimed. There was a silence then, soldiers shifting in their places, gloves tightening and squeaking around handles and closing around triggers, but not yet firing. Stern rubbed his chin and then nodded.
Perhaps you are right, Commissar.
He said at length,
But you'll forgive me
he added before Shadrick could so much as sigh.
if I do not take you at your murderous word. If the Inquisition sanctioned this, then I will need some proof. So why don't we all just relax for a time and get in contact with them? I'm sure they will verify your orders, and if they do, then so be it,
said Stern. Shadrick gnashed his teeth, a vein of raw fury visible on his face. He would not be stopped, not be stalled, not by some upstart sergeant or a meager Cadian captain. He looked around the room again, and slowly, a spiteful grin spread across his face as a stark realization struck him.
Yes, we could do that,
said Shadrick.
but I think I have an even better idea. I'll give you one more chance, Captain Stern. Get out of my way. Make no further attempts to stop me. That is a direct order.
Stern crossed his arms, fixing Shadrach with a deep-seated glare. I do not take orders from you, Shadrach, the man said, cracking his neck with a turn of his head. So, no, he stated with an air of deep finality. Shadrach's grin flared deep before he coughed, clearing his throat and raising his voice. I am Commissar Captain Jonathan Shadrach. Captain Stern has overreached his authority and is defying a direct order from his superior. He is in violation of the Imperial Creed and the Adeptus Munitorum Code of Conduct and Honor. As such, as of this moment, I am initiating General Order 99. Any who remain loyal to your organization must abide it and detain former Captain Stern and his accomplices to await summary judgment. Stern could only blink in surprise as the order was issued, his reaction aped by most of the Cadian forces, some of whom even chuckled at the very notion, and none of whom moved to comply with the ineffectual order. But the men of Krieg were not laughing. As one, they turned, guns swinging away from the Commissar, and aimed straight up and into the Cadian forces they flanked. Stern balked, particularly when he felt the barrel of a hot-shot pistol press into the back of his head.
Damn it!
Please surrender, Captain, said the cool, even voice of 1313. I am not permitted to give you a second warning, the young soldier warned. The Cadians spun to face the Kriegers, and 1313 found his own head the focus of a long lass aimed directly into his ear, held by a scowling, trembling Emiliana.
Damn
Though
it!
he did not turn to look at her, he knew she was not shaking in fear, but in raw rage, born of bewildered betrayal. 13, what are you doing? She hissed angrily, following orders. He said in a flat voice. His orders? Why? She insisted, and 1313 gave her the suggestion of a shrug in response, his eyes locked forward. Because, like the captain already said, the Commissar outranks him, and the Inquisition outranks us all. There is no other choice. He explained as though it should have been obvious. And besides, Emiliana. He continued, still not turning to look at her, still holding his gun to the back of Stern's head. I am of Krieg, and where I come from, we follow orders. We always follow orders.
All right, that's it. We riot. We riot. We riot right now. Everybody riot. I don't care. We riot. We riot right now. Fan. I want Han. No. Damn it! Oh, thank you, Prophet. Thank you, Comet. Good soldiers follow orders. This is very true. This is very true. Yes, all Kriegers are programmed like this. Kriegers will not disobey the Inquisition. Flat out. It's not. They're not going to do it, okay? They are at... Oh, my God. Oh... Yeah, once I found out there were Kriegers there, and then he started talking about the Inquisition and things like that, I was sitting there, I was like, oh, this could go bad, but I didn't think that they would do it. But at the same time, it makes sense that they would. Prophet says, I called it! I predicted it! Yay for you! Really? How does he outrank them? They are both captains. Commissars don't hold captain ranks. Slacker, where the difference comes is the Commissar, as a Captain Commissar and Captain Commissars and Lord Commissars fall under very, very different rules. Like, with that captain doing what he did, a regular Commissar could have blapped him. I'm just saying. Hobbit says, suggest we throw a fan to the Demonculaba for that? Yeah. Behold the sins of mankind. What power does the Ministorum have in this galaxy? Honestly, the Ministorum is probably going to have the same amount of power that it did in the regular, but without a lot of the institutional strength. In terms of, people are still going to have the same faith in the Ministorum, but not necessarily the same amount of, they're not going to have the ability, to enforce their will as much, because they don't have nearly the political power in this galaxy that they did in the regular 40k world. They don't have anything. Zekil says, if I remember correctly, Commissars are allowed to execute commanding officers and take command if they believe the CO is incompetent. That is very true. That is extremely true. The most extreme case of this I'm actually going to be covering in a video pretty soon. I hope Samurai Bear says that Samuel might be the brother of our favorite shark-faced Inquisitor Tar Weiler. Right. Let's not forget the legislation that happened after the Reign of Blood. Very true, fan. Very, very true. Ripoff says, look on the bright side. Or the obvious Order 66 parallels happening here means that Palpatine can't use it. It will be repetitive. This is very true. We have screwed Palpatine. Creamy Sheev is not pleased. Thank you, Ripoff. Next moment, we'll have ARC Troopers dropping in, I bet. I don't know how this is going to actually wind up. I do know if anything happens to that virus bomb, it means instant death. It's going to really... That would wipe out Axum right there. That would absolutely wipe out Axum. Jared Hicks, an Inquisitor. Now, no Inquisitor in their right mind is going to question the orders, is going to question a Saint. No Inquisitor in their right mind is going to do that. But at the same time, a Saint is just that, a Saint. Saints don't hold any real military power. They have none, okay? But it would look very bad on somebody if they started saying, oh, well, blah, 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 I'm not going to pay attention to the Saint. Everybody would be kind of looking at them like, what, are you, a heretic? So, people really pay attention when it comes to the orders of Saints. But Lazarus, even though he was brought back from the dead and they're declaring him a saint, obviously, look at what happened to the Imperial Saints when Fedor came across. Yes, tortured. Prophet said this season about to be the end of Axiom. It could very well be. Camino must be the new Krieg. The debt must still be paid. Yes. Yes. Guys. Oh, man. 13, you disappoint me, my son. You disappoint me, my child. But I do understand you. I do understand you very well, my son. Fjordor and his Inquisitor mobility scooter. Okay. If Axiom becomes a death world, other people at Axiom are revolting against the Imperium like Krieg. Yeah, there's a lot of parallels right now. There's a lot of parallels between Axiom and Krieg in terms of what it looked like before and what it looked like after. For anybody that doesn't know what Krieg is, Krieg was a planet that about how many years ago? I can't remember the exact time. My brain's gonna hurt. Krieg was not initially Krieg. Krieg was initially a very prosperous hive world. It was as close to a nice place to live as you could possibly imagine. And then the leadership of Krieg decided they were going to turn their back on the Imperium, which promptly got every loyalist on the planet pissed enough to literally nuke the planet into non-existence. Old man isn't angry, just disappointed. Very true. Extremely true. Okay? Alright, so. Did you guys have fun? Did you? Did you? Krieg was once Craig. Guys, I'm going to be editing for most of the night again. Could word bearers use vortex grenades as escape portals? No. Oh, yeah, they could actually. It's sad. I love the comments section. Yes. Colonel Jerton saved them all. Saved all of them. Is the next fan is being asked if the next episode's on Monday. Austin King again says, "Hey, I got a question. If I build a CIS army to go against the Imperial Guard of the Imperial Mankind, what should I put in that army?" If you're going, okay, so if you're talking stock standard Imperial Guard, no Regiment of Renown, you'd want to go as many droidicas as you possibly could. Standard battle droids would do absolutely dick. I mean, absolutely dick. The standard droids of the CIS would be completely worthless. Battle droids would be on a different level. Droidicas and battle droids. The actual I can't remember the name of them, man. My brain is screwed. Alex says he doesn't expect the virus bomb to go off. Yeah, super battle droids. There you go, Hobbit. There you go. All right, guys. He says he's aiming for next Monday for the next release, but he's feeling the burnout rise him, so he's got to stay in control. Guys, burnout is a real thing. It is a massive thing. One thing that you guys don't probably know about is how long things take to edit. Now, we sat here and we watched a 30-minute episode. I know from knowing what this the changes, the matching up of music, all this other kind of stuff. I know how long this stuff takes on a very practical level, and I can tell you this 30-minute episode took 2 days to write, minimum, a day and a half to research, minimum, probably several takes, so about an hour and a half to actually record, minimum, and at least 8 to 10 hours in an editor, minimum. These things take time, guys. That's why I'm releasing the Yerk video in 3 parts, because it does take a beast mode amount of time. Alright, guys. Alright, so what rules of 40k do you think are going to change in this new galaxy? The powers that be might have the grip right now. Well, the ecclesiarchy, it really depends on how severe this war is. It really depends on how severe this war is. So just be mindful of that, honestly. The ecclesiarchy is very, very ingrained, but at the same time, if there was a time for the ecclesiarchy to lose its actual strength and power, it would be right now, with everything that's going on, with all the major changes, with them not having a power base to draw from, no worlds to tie from, no political power to really speak of besides the assumed power of the ecclesiarchy. The ecclesiarchy, as of this moment in this universe, is at a power level that resembles something between a wet kitten and a hamster. It is not strong whatsoever. So, yeah, definitely. The ecclesiarchy is at its lowest point in power it can possibly go. One thing to just let you guys know, and I'm just going to tell y'all a little bit more about this. So, one thing to understand, especially when it comes to like any kind of research, all this other kind of stuff, something to note about what I've done for the Yerk video. When I researched the Yarg video, it took me a week and a half to do. I had to read flat out. I had to reread the entire Yerk omnibus. The entire thing. That's an 800-page book right there. Then, Codex Imperial Guard, 3rd edition, 4th edition, 5th edition, Codex Armageddon, Codex Orcs Gazgul edition. A lot of stuff. To have the stuff, to have both universes, I know what I have to research to get my point across. Fan also has to research the Star Wars universe at the same time. This takes a monumental investment to do. And all I can do is say this has been great so far. Aside from all that, guys, we're going to get there. X in chat for fan. Definitely X in chat for fan. If you have not subscribed to him yet, nuke yourself in chat. Oh, God. We're going to head out, guys. I hope you guys have had fun. Have a good Wednesday. And I will see you guys next time, all right? Don't do anything I would do. And, hey, happy 10,000, guys. 10,000. Good God.